We have two guests today, Divya Chaturvedi. She is Executive Director of Saheli Boston, and Meenakshi Garodia. She is a board member of Saheli Boston. She has been active. Both of them have been active with Saheli for a very long time. On December 4th, Saheli is hosting its fundraising gala to raise some funds for the great work they are doing. So Divya is going to update us overall about the growth of Saheli during the last 4 years and how Saheli is trying to be a comprehensive organization helping women and families. And Meenakshi will talk briefly about a play she is producing during the Saheli fundraiser gala, again dealing with issues and challenges faced by South Asian women. So, Divya, welcome to our show. And it's always a pleasure to talk with Saheli friends.
Thank you so much, Upendraji, for having us. You have been a big supporter of Saheli.
From day one.
Yeah, from day one. And we really, truly appreciate that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, as you know, we were talking earlier off the camera, and you mentioned that there has been a phenomenal growth in Saheli during the last 4 years, not only in terms of the services and the staffing and funding, but also in terms of the outreach. So let's start there. The last 4 years of growth at Saheli.
Yes, sure. But before I do that, I do want to thank our co-founders, Gauri and Usha and Rita, who have sustained Saheli. This is our 26th year. So we have been in operation for 25 years as a source of support and help for South Asian survivors of domestic violence. And we could not have done that without all the people who have helped, supporters like you and our co-founders. But the last 5 years, we have seen a growth, and that is because more and more people are willing to reach out to get help when they are in abusive relationships, when they are suffering, when children are suffering. And we have seen that when we provide help, we want to be with the survivor all the way. So, and that's why we want to be a comprehensive service provider, because our goal is that when a survivor comes to Saheli, that we should be able to help them in all the aspects. So we should be able to help them with their legal needs. We should be able to help them with their housing needs. We should be able to offer them mental health support. We should be able to help their children, with mental health and with parenting support. We should be there for them. Because we have seen that when we send our survivors to other, when we refer them to other places, for example, other organizations or, other legal aid organizations, without being there for them, they get re-traumatized.
Yeah, relive the whole.
Yeah, they have to not only relive the whole thing, but they may not get the adequate language and cultural support that they actually need. And many times these organizations do not understand the culture. We have seen that especially with mental health. When survivors have gone to other mental health practitioners, they don't understand arranged marriage. They don't understand why she cannot walk out of a relationship. They don't understand what is the hold of like in-laws or male figures in the family. And so they don't get the support they want. So what we have been doing in the last 5 years, we have taken a step back, assessed what our strengths are, where we need to grow, and we have invested the organization's time, money, funding, and staff to those areas of growth. And because we have been intentional about really becoming comprehensive, we have been able to grow. And our funders have realized this. So we have increased our foundation grants, because they have realized the actual value of the service that we provide. I do want to add that in the last 4 years, we realized, many of the Arab survivors, Arabic-speaking survivors, were reaching out to Saheli because there is not a single organization out there.
Exactly that question I was going to ask you. So when Saheli started, it was basically focused on Indian women.
Yeah.
Then it became South Asian. Now I hear that, the women from the Middle East.
Yeah.
And also anybody who comes to Saheli. So how that transformation has taken place?
So, our first rule is that we do not deny service to anyone. We offer free and confidential services. Anyone who knocks at Saheli's door is provided the help. If we can't understand the language, if we can't, we refer them to other organizations that we collaborate with. But for many, it started as, within the Indian community. There was a need, right? I mean, the domestic violence cuts
and
across.
everybody was in denial.
Yes, domestic violence cuts across, race, region, socioeconomic status, everything. It can happen to the poorest, to the richest, to anyone. The overall statistic is 1 in 4 women will be a victim of domestic violence. 1 in 4, which is 25% of the population. That is across all countries, classes and cultures. But in South Asian, there have been varying reports that range is from anywhere to 33% to actually 60%. So there have been various studies, and they have done they have done surveys and all, and they have found that the incidence is really high. Because of the immigration status too, because they come here, many of them are isolated, many of them don't speak the language, and it really exacerbates the problem. And that is true for all immigrants. So the Arabic-speaking survivors were reaching out to Saheli because we understand, they share similar culture, same kind of family setup. They have the same, the violence is perpetrated by not only your intimate partner, which is your husband or spouse, but also by other family members, which is unique to this part of the world. And so we are able to really hold their hand, understand the culture, and offer them the services that they need, which is why they kept coming to us, and we had to add an Arabic-speaking staff so that we can understand the language and we can offer.
So what about people from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka? You see the demand from those communities coming as well, right?
Yes, we get a lot of survivors from Bangladesh, from Pakistan. We get from Nepal, and for Nepalese survivors, we do collaborate with other organizations, and then we get a few from Sri Lanka as well.
Okay.
We were getting, now that with Afghani refugees, we have seen such an increase in demand from many organizations who are reaching out to us and asking, how can you help our the Afghani survivors of domestic violence? And, we were fortunate to actually hire a staff member, a domestic violence advocate, who speaks, Dari and who speaks Farsi. So we are not only helping, just the Afghani, we're also helping Iranian, and, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, and our majority of our clients are still come from India.
Okay. So now my question to you is that if anybody is listening and watching this, and okay, the Sahel is doing a great job, how can I help? So what type of help and support you will need to further increase your services?
So I want to just, roll out a couple of, numbers. So in the last 3 years, since our last Nirbhaya Gala in 2019, from 2020, we have helped 1,500 unique individuals. And that means that we have helped about 700 individual survivors who are new, we forget, and then we have existing survivors who are still with us year on year, and about 800 children. So we are making a material difference to, 1,500 women and children in their lives. And our goal has been to grow our services, our housing services, our legal services, our mental health services, because when we offer comprehensive services, it makes a material difference. And, we can talk numbers ad nauseum, and, people are like, oh, these are just numbers. I just want to share a quick story with you and how what we do makes such a difference. We had this survivor who was educated, was working in her home country. She came here when she got married, had a child here. And from day one, her husband was abusive. She was not allowed to work. She was not allowed to go outside. She couldn't do grocery shopping on her own. She was just home all day. He literally isolated her. When the violence became really bad, the neighbors complained. And then the police got involved, Department of Children and Families got involved, and she reached out to Saheli. Department of Children and Families reached out to Saheli. The police reached out to Saheli. How can you help this woman? She's in a terrible shape. She has an infant child. What can you do? And from that moment onwards, from that first moment of intake with the client, we sprung into action. So we started her, with making sure that she was safe. We offered her housing for 1 year. That Saheli was paying the rent, so she could really get her life back in order. We connected her to the attorneys. She was getting a legal case. Her restraining order, divorce was going through, and we offered her mental health support. We were offering virtual mental health programming. This is, of course, during COVID until till literally beginning of this year, we've been doing virtual programming. So she was getting mental health support. She was getting parenting support. We went with her to the bank. She never had a bank account in the US. We went with her to the bank. We helped her open a bank account. We gave her money to do some of the courses that she could do. We helped her find a job. In 1 year, that survivor went from being broken to really having a job which was paying her well enough that she could afford to pay rent on her own. She could afford daycare. And the biggest moment for me, was when she came to our office with a $200 check. And she said, "This is my donation to Saheli, my way of paying it forward, to other survivors." And if nothing else, just that moment makes everything we do worthwhile. Because here is this one woman who had no hope in this country. Her immigration status was literally hanging by a thread. And if Saheli hadn't stepped in, if she hadn't got the help from Saheli, she would have probably been deported back. And she said that if she went back, she was being threatened by her in-laws in India.
Sure.
Her family was, she had like younger sisters, whatever, who were, family always says, their chances of getting married are going to get impacted. So she didn't have much of family support. So we were her only support. We were her only family. We were her only means of really.
Well, I'm really glad that it turned out to be such a great story. And she, appreciated Saheli and came back with a check. So talking about check, also on December 4th, one of the goals of the event is to raise some funds for Saheli. And we hope that a lot of people come there with their checkbooks and credit cards as well, which will be widely welcome, I assume.
Yes,
there, right? Yeah.
Yes. We have, the support from the community has really grown in the last 3 years, and we are so grateful to that. Really, we cannot, the Saheli, we are holding our gala after 3 years. So the money that we raise in this gala will go towards a lot of the services that the survivors need. And we can provide them because, without re-traumatizing them, and we can really help them, on the path of safety and healing, and they can live their lives, abuse-free. And
then also I hear that at the gala there is going to be a play dealing with the issue of challenges faced by Indian and South Asian women at the gala through a play.
Yes.
And we have Meenakshi with us, who is the producer of the play and director and writer. And so we are going to see if she can give us some sort of a sneak peek of the play.
Yes, we are very fortunate to have Meenakshi with us. She's an amazing, director, writer. And I'm so excited for the play and for everyone who's going to come to our gala. It's going to be a great event, and I will let Meenakshi talk more about that.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Meenakshi, welcome to our show. And so I hear that you are producing a play for the Saheli Annual Gala on December 4th, which is going to happen at Burlington Marriott in Burlington. It is. Right. So can you give us some sort of a sneak peek view about the play?
So, the gala is for Saheli, which deals with domestic violence, and that's a pretty serious, heavy subject. And I was actually fortunate enough to write and direct a play for the last gala as well, for the people who came. And domestic violence is something that we've discussed earlier, but it's literally all over. But what does it mean? It means, and I'm going to right now use the genders being women, and a lot of domestic violence is against women, and the survivors are women. So I'm going to use a little gender stereotyping here, even though men also suffer from domestic violence.
Sure.
What does domestic violence mean? It means that there are these women who are in their homes and their significant other, the person they're married to or live with, mostly are married to, has decided to behave with them in a manner which is either physically abusive, emotionally abusive, or financially abusive. They are not safe in their own homes. In their own homes, they have to face this on a daily basis. And the people who come to Saheli, for example, they are facing it to such a degree that they feel they possibly cannot live with this anymore. In India, South Asia, and a lot of South Asian countries, Middle Eastern, there's somehow a lot of shame attached
Mhm.
to the fact that you
Even
come out.
here too, in our
Even in the
community.
US, there's
Sure.
shame attached.
Mhm.
Like, women are ashamed that they have been abused
Mhm.
when they have done nothing wrong.
Mhm.
But people don't want to speak up about it. They don't want to bring it up. And the women who come to organizations reach such a level that they can't stay there anymore. They're like, okay, we need to speak up about this. Can you imagine what that must feel like on a daily basis to live like that?
Yeah, of course.
And why does that happen? One of the reasons that happens is things people hear, acclimatization, a patriarchal society. And this is domestic violence is a family issue. It is
It
not
is
a woman
everybody.
issue.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, at Saheli, we really want people to think about it. Think about like witting or unwitting actions, words people say that could lead to situations and how every single person can help. That's Saheli's goal,
Mhm.
to make everybody involved. All men, all women, to have everybody involved. Because this is something that will be solved when society on the whole decides to do something about it. I will not give away much about my play because you need to come see it.
Okay, sure. No,
But- My play deals with some of the things women hear that and how a mindset needs to be changed.
okay. So a few things you can talk about the play. Maybe. So how many actors and actresses going to be in the play?
We have a child actor as well,
Mhm.
and we have 2 main actors
Mhm.
and between 4 and 6 supporting actors.
Okay, excellent. And how long the play is going to be?
It's not very long.
Okay.
It's more a feel and a feeling and a concept. So it's going to be around 7-8 minutes.
So now, can you talk a little bit in more detail about the gala? What people should expect there?
So our gala is something which it's about a heavy topic, but we don't want people to be only thinking about that. So we have a good list of speakers, we have some music, we have some dancers, and we have really good food.
That's what I'm going to be my
And
next question.
It's always really good food.
Mhm.
And we have a little socialization in the beginning, and then the programming starts, and then we have dinner, and then we have some dancing.
Yeah.
And people who come here, and this is not obviously only limited to South Asians, it's limited to anybody who's interested in coming and exploring the concept and wants to get involved. And we really want people to donate, but we also want people to get involved.
Mhm.
And a good way of getting involved is coming, attending the gala to see what you like and see how you can help. Those are our aims.
Okay. No, I think that's a great aims. And do you know the timing from what time to what
Yes,
time?
it's from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's
Okay.
Sunday.
Okay.
So because it's a school night, we decided to keep it a bit earlier than normal.
So yeah, no. Actually, I'm going to miss this time for the first time.
No, really?
I'll be in India at the time. So,
Okay.
but
I hope
other-
you're sending a rep.
I
who
know
represents
somebody
you.
will be there, of course. Yes, of course. Yeah,
Yes.
we'll be fully represented there at Saheli Gala. And before I let you go, I will have to ask you, what is your last word on Saheli?
I think people, if you think about it, the people at Saheli who are doing this work, think about the dedication because everybody does some kind of work. But the amount of emotional bandwidth working on domestic violence would take. Think about it. There are people coming in physical assault, sexual assault, financial assault. I am in such awe of all the staff and all the board members and everybody contributes to Saheli because especially the staff, the co-EDs and all the people who work there. They are spending their time to make the world a better place, to try to make the world a kinder place, more happy. Because in the end, domestic violence leads to unhappiness.
Yeah,
and all these people they're trying to make. And just think about the number of people it impacts. It's not just women, right? It's families, it's women, children,
and
If it- if it's-
generations.
and it's generations,
yeah.
and it's also like their parents, right? We are in the US, and a lot of our clientele are immigrants, and they are first generation immigrants. They are the ones who've come here. A lot of them don't speak English.
Mhm.
They have come here, they've left their families behind, they're alone. Saheli is their support. Like, Saheli is the one organization that's making sure that they're safe, that they have a chance towards happiness.
So now I have one more question.
Okay.
Based on this one is, so I mean, you have a lot of experience with Saheli and you have been working with them for many, many years. If I ask you to pinpoint one major cause of this type of abuse or domestic violence, what that will be?
I think basically it is control. It's a
Control.
question of control.
Mhm.
As we know, in all sorts of sexual assault and domestic violence, it is the abuser wants to have a feeling of empowerment. And they do that by getting control over another person.
How is it different? I don't know if you are. How it is different from narcissism? Like,
Very often the abusers have narcissistic personality disorders. Very often they do.
because that's what I have read, that the narcissists are the control freak.
They tend to be. Narcissism tends to mean that you see the whole world from your point of view. Everything relates to you. It's basically all about you. Control can also be done by people who are narcissistic, but also non-narcissistic people. Sometimes it could just be that this is what's ingrained into them, that their wife is there to serve them in all manners, do the cooking for them, the cleaning for them, be there as their companion, on call for everything. And they don't think about the women as people and personalities.
Mhm.
Women are as much people and humans as men.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
But even in India, there's a concept that you shouldn't, like a woman should be sitting idle.
And me?
Tell me, haven't you heard it? She was just sitting around reading a book
Yeah. Sure.
in a negative term.
Mhm.
Why shouldn't she?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you heard that for a boy?
Yeah, no, it's a boy is considered to be good. Oh, boy sitting and reading, yeah.
But for a girl, it's considered bad. Why?
No, I think you make a lot of sense. And it's a very way, I think, men, they don't realize this.
And these are small things
Sure.
that lead up and up and up.
Yeah.
Like, the society on the whole has to value people, men and women, but not men at the expense of women.
Sure, yeah. Nobody should be expensive of anybody. Yeah, absolutely. Make good point.
And it should be like, for me, it is about just do the best you can as a person and always put yourself in the other person's place. Would you like to be doing that for your spouse?
Yeah.
Would you want your spouse to do that for you?
Sure.
Would you like your spouse to talk to you like that? Talk to your spouse like you want to talk to them.
I think, well, for me, it has been a great lesson today about narcissism and domestic violence. And I think maybe we should continue our discussion about narcissism, because there's another topic which...
I'm not a psychologist.
Sure.
This is, again, I've just read it. This is not my background.
Sure, yeah.
I did do my training for domestic violence, which is something good because a lot of our board members in Saheli, we actually did the comprehensive 40-hour training to actually become advocates ourselves, so that we really know what we're dealing with, what the staff is dealing with, what the people are dealing with. A lot of us did the course, and a lot of us are doing the course. It takes a long time, but we do it.
Excellent. Good. On that note, I'm really excited that Saheli is doing such a fantastic job. It has made domestic violence that, removed that whole taboo around domestic violence, especially in the Indian and South Asian community. And also it brought a lot of awareness about mental health issues as well. So we're very proud of Saheli and the work you are doing. And let's hope that our viewers come to Gala and write some checks.
I really hope that. Please come, please support us. And also, please try to break taboos. If you have people in your life who you think are unhappy or being abused, speak to them privately, offer whatever help you can, and ask them to reach out to people for a confidential consult if they feel that they need to.
Excellent. On that note, Meenakshi, thank you so much for your
much.
time. Sure. Excellent. And all the best for Saheli Gala.
Thank you. We'll miss you there.
Yeah, no, I'm going to miss it too.
Okay.
This will be the first time I'll be not attending Saheli event. Since it started 25, 26
I
years
know.
ago.
Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.